There were 3 stages how that happened. I can remember 3 distinct things happened to make it work.
Oh, do you want to come and join my band? Of these 2 guys I met down the skate park.
So, oh, I should come in. I was like, yeah, bring my guitar, have a jam. Like,
we played in a living room in the middle of the day.
We needed a new name. We decided that like in the previous weeks, I believe.
Alex turned 18 in October 2001, and of course he had a gig for his party. His parents rented Selsdon Hall, and despite not practicing for a while, Brainfreeze headed on stage and apparently were decent. Also playing were Suicidal Goldfish and Alan's other band, Waste Paper Basket, who would play alongside us several times due to the close connection.
My 18th was a fun night. It was not too many memories left, but I do remember a couple of things. There was I remember having a stupid outfit because I thought, oh, it's my 18th, I want to look cool. So I bought like camo vest and matching trousers.
I remember because that's the first time I met Cassie, who is now one of my best friends. And she was wearing like this black corset, like this full-on like gothic princess thing, and her tits were like pouring out, and I couldn't keep my eyes off them. I was a big fan, and I remember being really smashed and just going up to her and just like, just at her like, you're magnificent, like yeah. And just...
She also wore this big, this fluffy black jacket that night, because there's a picture of me somewhere, because my outfit that night, because it was my 18th, I wanted to look cool. I wore a white camo matching white camo trousers and vest, but there's a picture of me somewhere.
Action man.
Yeah, pretty much snow action man.
Snow action man.
Or urban action man. Yeah, that's it. And there's a picture of me wearing her jacket with that outfit, looking like a really like
someone out of Fifth Element.
No, an urban Reese Ethans from Little Nicky.
Oh my god!
But yeah, I do remember it being sort of, there was really positive atmosphere. Like everyone was really sort of in the mood to hear you guys play. I also remember, for some reason, randomly, I've retained a memory of talking to, I think it might have been yourself and Alan in the car park when you guys had all finished and the gear was all being loaded into cars. So we're talking about how Mike Waite's dad knows like Buster Blood Vessel and some other people. So yeah, I've got sort of fragments of memory still left over from then.
I remember Funky being there, but he wasn't there for the bands because he always claimed he hated us. He stayed at the bar the entire night because his dad worked there, and yeah, they spent the night hanging out, and we'd come and say hello to him at the bar. Jokes on him though. When I entered the cartoon group when I was trying to make this documentary, and said basically appealing for help with Brainfreeze stuff, is like, who's Brainfreeze? I found a picture of him watching us intently and circled us like, you love us.
About that night, the only thing I really, really remember about that night is when Lisa tried to kick the crap out of Devo. Lisa was always trying to start fights with guys. She was
I remember, yeah.
But back then, well, it is now, but back then, you didn't know really, what do we do? Who do we, punch them in the face, blood going everywhere. I'd see it. And it's difficult to know what you're supposed to do in a situation like that. Yeah. But Devo he was great. He was great because he walked around in a tracksuit, he looked like a rude boy, but he was massively into Nick Dixon hardcore punk and Pantera and things like that. I think we went to a Fear Factory gig with him once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was about to say, do you remember the Fear Factory gig when he kicked the window of a bus and ran
and he kicked the window of the bus and then he ran away, took his jumper off, came back again. It's genius. He ran away, took his red jumper off so they couldn't get ID'd and stuck it in his bag.
End of the night outside, I remember Cassie and Forbin getting off while they were drunk. Forbin very drunk. Forbin was like so drunk. But he was like the first person who got to the party, like other than the bands. He was super early, so I'm not surprised he was very, very drunk.
I remember there being a lot of booze, a lot
Oh, yeah.
of booze. And I remember our drummer getting catatonic. I think he'd gone through a breakup like that day or the day before, and he just got shit-faced. And he kept trying to like sprint off, and we were like trying to drag him back, and it ended up being like something out of like a fucking Steve Irwin, like wrestling him like to the floor. I remember he got up at one point and then just ran straight into like this wire fence and then just fell down. And yeah, I remember spending a lot of that party like staring at Cass's tits and trying to stop Mike running into traffic. That was...
I'm pretty sure I was there. Because I remember going to a gig pretty early on at Selsdon.
Was there a bar there?
Oh, I can't remember. I do remember though that yeah, I remember being there and there were Fairfield people there.
Well, the reason I'm a slightly skeptical is because I remember there was a gig literally round the corner in a church hall.
Right.
That was packed. It was like absolutely rammed.
I've never been to a packed gig with any of the bands that we know.
Okay, you were at my birthday.
We played at the Selsdon, what is now a Tesco or Asda or whatever.
Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, they wouldn't have an Asda in Selsdon.
No.
Yeah, and it was a massive hall, and we got me with Waste Paper Basket, Brainfreeze, and then Suicidal Goldfish.
That's
I
the one.
You remember?
Yeah.
With those two boys from Suicidal Goldfish, and they were popular in the area because they did a cover of a Limp Bizkit song. And
they did Faith.
Which obviously is a cover of George Michael's song.
Yeah.
But I remember being impressed that you'd managed to book them. And now, of course, I look back on it, I was like, he just asked them, didn't he? They weren't doing anything. They weren't celebrities.
I paid Suicidal Goldfish like 80 quid that day. And like, if I'd like waited like 6 more months, that would have cost me a lot less, because like in the future I realized that these bands will play for free a lot of the time. They did play for free, or just for like a lot less, because like we used to do it for because when they played with us at the Cartoon, it was just like however much we took at the door. So 80 quid is way too much, it turns out. And that was my birthday money. I could have spent that on something cool, like not camo clothes.
Not long after that gig, the next step in the Brainfreeze story happened by chance. Alex and Sean were hanging out in Croydon when Sean bumped into John Wingrove outside the Whitgift Centre while Alex was in a shop. John was the man behind Fruit Machine Music and was flyering for the latest Fruit Machine gig at the time. Sean decided to start helping, and eventually, when Alex came out of the shop, he helped too. Brainfreeze joined Fruit Machine Music that day.
I don't know really. I guess what I was trying to do was just sort of, there were a lot of us of that same kind of age and same kind of interests. There wasn't really much to do, so it was just to sort of bring people together and get all the bands kind of working, in a coordinated way. And it was very much, I don't know what I was doing, but it was fun. Nothing else to do, was there? So the compilation CDs we did, that was quite fun, and it got everyone sort of aware of, in that little, which is a very small scene, aware of what we were doing. It was just, something to link together everyone a little bit. Those bands which weren't even very similar sounding.
No, it was quite a varied spectrum.
I think that was it at the time, and no one really cared today either. It was all, we didn't have as much access to music, so everyone just wanted to, see or hear anything.
Yeah, it was Soul Space John's like pet project, really. It was quite a good idea because we had all of like the local bands were kind of on it, like a little promo thing. We could plug our gigs and we could like meet other bands and actually hang out, because alternative scene back then wasn't quite as big as it is now. So like,
No.
meeting people in the scene was actually really, really difficult at some points, because you didn't have internet. You didn't really have, well, you had internet, but you didn't have like social media where you'd, you know, if you were going to meet up with a stranger on the internet back then, it was definitely going to be a paedophile. It wasn't going to be someone who lives like down the road who likes the same bands as you. It was definitely, you were going to get molested.
And it started off small, like new bands would get added here, there, and everywhere occasionally. So we like on the original ones, you had Soul Space, obviously, because it was Soul Space pretty much running it, or John from Soul Space was the guy. Gridlock Takedown, Suicidal Goldfish. I think there was a couple of others. There was a band called Shih Tzu Love, who I never saw play, but I swear I must have met them a couple of times. And I think in the end I actually wrote a song about them because I liked the name. That must have been the reason. But it was set upon like a Blink soundtrack. It was cool. We never actually made it. It was just a written. Obviously we joined Waste Paper Basket. I think other bands like Rehab, Peripheral Vision. Before MySpace and Facebook and stuff like that, we had the Fruit Machine forum.
Yeah, I remember that.
Fruit Machine message board.
Free forum, wasn't it? Yeah. But it was just sort of, that was the idea, and I think, you know, there wasn't really any other way of doing that at the time. Everyone would be out during the day, and then, you know, weekday evenings everyone would be sat home on the computers. It kind of made sense, didn't it, to have some way of linking everyone up still. So that's all it was.
Yeah, the Fruit Machine message board was like one of the original types of social media. It was that or Yahoo Chat, and Yahoo Chat was more of a random thing. You didn't know who you were going to get, but with the Fruit Machine message board, it was all just in lists, and everything was listed down. You could like go through each conversation. I think I remember there was one. An argument between us and Suicidal Goldfish over who would be going on first and who would be going on second in the gig where we were supporting Pitch Blend and stuff like that, because I saw Pitch Blend had won the Kerrang Reader Awards for unsigned band, the Kerrang Reader Award for unsigned band, and so I thought, oh, they're unsigned, I could book them. So I did, and yeah, it was a good gig, to be fair. I think we won the argument because it was my gig. I can't remember that much though. There was also like people would post gig reviews on there. I think like Goff Jamie is what we called him because I can't remember his actual surname, but he would go to gigs and post his reviews on there, and that was nice. That was nice as well.
Yeah, we would talk about absolute bollocks, like very much like the Facebook or Twitter of its time, where it actually was really, yeah, that it was that format, but it was just us guys just
chatting.
Yeah, and like you didn't have to be in a band to be on Fruit Machine, did you?
No, you had little Goff Jamie from Fairfield.
Yeah,
he'd be on there all the time.
But wasn't he in a band?
No, he was friends with, or he went out with a girl that was in a band, or he was quite good friends with Soul Evidence, if you remember them. They were like the Fairfield Kids band.
I don't remember. I might have, because on the side of the screen there would be like everyone's little like band kind of icon,
yeah,
and like your own button, and yeah, John had done like a little graphic for it. Like Waste Paper Basket was just like a fucking Waste Paper Basket, and
yeah, we were a Brain in an Ice Cube.
Brain, yeah, like it was really, really sweet.
Fruit Machine used to do compilation CDs as well of all the bands that were part of Fruit Machine, and I do still have them. Yeah, this was the first one after we joined. Anyway, I don't know if they did one before. I think they might have. I do have the next one upstairs as well, but I don't know where. This one had so there was 2 songs from each band. There was 6 bands: Waste Paper Basket, Peripheral Vision, Brainfreeze, Soul Space, Gridlock Takedown, Suicidal Goldfish. It's a perfect introduction to the Fruit Machine, and we'll probably revisit that when we get to the recording part of this. I remember the first one. Me, you, a few of us went to watch do a signing at Virgin Megastores on Oxford Street.
Yeah, maybe.
And I distinctly remember giving you £1 just so I could give them a copy of the CD.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of you. Huh.
And you going, you know they're not going to listen to it. And I was like, yeah, I know they might.
Yeah.
Knowing full well now that they definitely did not listen to it.
You never know, actually, they might have done. I think I changed my opinion on that. I reckon they will have done. None of them's in prison, right?
Sickness in which I travel beyond where we need to be. Financing all the fairness. Believe me, it's the greed. Drop down, drop out. What the fuck is this about? Please tell me I don't have a clue. Just stepped into the suicide room. Show me what you wanted. Show me what you need. I'll show you what I wanted. And then we'll make you fucking bleed. Drop in, drop out. What the fuck is this about? Please tell me I don't have a clue. Just stepped into the suicide room. Show me what you wanted. Show me what you need. I'll show you what I wanted.
Joining Fruit Machine proved fruitful almost immediately as one of the bands on the show they were flyering for pulled out on the week of the gig. John would ask Brainfreeze to fill in, and just like that, we had our first proper chance to shine at the Cartoon Club in Croydon.
I came to London in 1976, the hot summer, because there was no work up north. So I came down to London, and I slept rough for a year. I was sleeping on building sites, Victoria Coach Station. I slept, and I had a job. First job I got was a hod carrier in Wadden, which is South Croydon,
Yeah.
and they had a lovely warm, a hut with a heating and a cooker, and somewhere I could sleep. So I slept. I used to sneak back into the hut late at night, sleep, and then go out early in the morning and pretend I came to work. But obviously I didn't know Croydon, so I walked around the town the first couple of nights, and I heard some music. This was about 78. This was, and 77, 78, and it was the Cartoon. When it was a one-shop place, it was really small. But I went in there every night to pass the time, before I went to sleep and went to work the next day.
Yeah.
And then I posted it on Facebook in 1998. I went back and bought it.
I think every band in Croydon or South London or surround have played the Cartoon at least once. It's the place to play in the area throughout that period of time.
Yeah, no, yeah. And it's like, you can go around the world in 6 degrees. Like, 6 people that know 6 other people each that know 6 other, and you can get around the world really, really quickly. There was an experiment they did with postcards to see how quickly it would spread, and it was incredible. But it's a little bit like that with that place, because if you're from Croydon or anywhere in South London and you like a bit of the rock scene, no matter whatever level, you are somehow connected to that place.
I took a risk on a lot of bands. Sometimes it paid off, sometimes it didn't, because there were so many young bands. I specialise in a lot of young up-and-coming bands, as well as the touring tributes and covers, and your Limehouse Lizzies, your Bon Jovis, the top end of the spectrum when it comes to cover bands. But I really used to look for young bands and listen, try and see a spark there, and nurture them, and try and bring them through, which I did quite a lot actually.
Oh yeah, that was definitely the case.
I found some great bands, and just advised them what direction to take. And I was asked to manage bands, but that's not what I do. I'll steer a band in the right direction. I'll point them to talk to this guy here or that guy there, but managing bands is not my thing. I book them.
Yeah.
I sort of try and make them better.
I remember Noel telling me after a couple of gigs, it's like, if you're going to play here monthly, because I did tend to book a gig monthly. If we're going to be playing here monthly, we need to starting to play new songs. I don't think we listened to start with, but we did eventually. And
You
then
kept the door money. I supplied the sound man. I paid the sound man.
and you just took as much money as you could off the bar.
Yeah, I made the money from the bar, and if you made a few bob on the door, I was delighted.
So right, you went on to employ at least 2 members of the band
Well,
behind the bar. That what you said there probably leads me to leads me to know what the answer is going to be. But do you know if they were decent employees?
Well,
so you had
most of my staff were, because if they weren't up to scratch, they didn't last a session. I'd throw them out. And I told them straight away, I'll give you a go. If you thieve off me, if you're lazy, if you don't do the job properly, you're out. If you're willing to learn, I'll give you a chance.
You have to treat the regulars properly nice, right? And they return their respect.
Yeah.
Right, and there's a good place for that kind of thing. I love that place. I felt really part of something then, like a church in a way, if you know what I mean. Without the theism, maybe, but there was that sort of parish church feeling the place had. It was sort of creating a bit of loyalty.
We actually had various members of the band work there at one time, and I'm like, they were there for a while, so they must have been decent, and they were given the appropriate time off to come play on and come get on stage. I don't know if they ever worked the same nights as when they were playing.
But somebody gave me money to pour drinks for people, but because all I've got to do really is pour drinks for people and take their money and give them their change. The rest of the time I'm getting drunk myself listening to a live band every time I'm working. Someone's giving me money to do that.
And we were talking about the stairs at the cartoon.
Yep.
And how dangerous they'd be by the end of the night.
Well, the stairways to heaven or hell. Depends how you look at it.
Heaven at the start of the night, hell by the end.
Hell going down, heaven coming up.
I think there must have been, through the various millions of Brainfreeze gigs we did at the cartoon, because that was our home, pretty much. I think good 5 people must have fell down the stairs at some point.
Oh Jesus! I threw more than that down.
At least, anyway.
Because there was a fire escape. You go down the bottom of the stairs. If you carried on, there was a fire escape. So it was brilliant momentum getting people out the door.
Brilliant.
I never threw people out the front door because it didn't look good. Throw them out the back door, down the stairs, fire escape, close the fire escape. They couldn't get back in.
It turned out that shows at the cartoon were not too hard to come across. A quick email to the owner and a plethora of gigs at the legendary venue were lined up, including one that would almost become an annual tradition. Boxing Day 2001 became the Brainfreeze Christmas party. Chevron and Suicidal Goldfish supported that night, but there were other things that folks could enjoy. Also held was a fancy dress competition with gig tickets for a prize, and then there was improvisational hardcore, where members of the bands playing jumped on random instruments and just played whatever they wanted. It was chaos.
I think that was the night where I accidentally, again, being a lightweight, and there were bands before us, and I maybe had too many beers before, and I was worried that I was gonna suck. But in my drunk head, I played the best show I'd ever done.
The Christmas gigs were great. The first one was probably the more memorable one, because I've still got photos of it, but I don't know how much of the actual music I remember. It's there's the other things we did after or before, to be more precise. The fancy dress pie is normally quite well remembered. I do remember people taking part, people actually wanting to try and win it, and I was giving gig tickets away, like proper ones, so that's not too surprising. The first one was a decent gig as well. Both of them, they were all decent gigs. They all cost. I just remember going and buy them at Star Green.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
These tickets used to cost me a fortune. I don't know how I got them.
You didn't get them for free yet. You had to buy them.
No, I don't give stuff for free.
I actually get given tickets for everything for free.
Oh
Off the companies. You should have asked me.
Well,
I used to get Stones tickets whenever the big bands toured. I used to get tickets in the post off all the companies.
Oh, jammy. I should have asked you. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. I vaguely remember this might have been Christmas, where it was like a fancy dress.
Yeah.
Competition, and I remember the winners. There was like a joint entry from Dee Dee and Shiv, who were both like dressed as like bondage fairy type people.
I can't remember. I know
they're one of the winning entries, and you gave them Liam Lynch's CD, the United States of whatever. I remember like, oh, you've won this, and I remember them like taking it off of you and looking at it like, really? This?
I do remember there being a Christmas party. I think you dressed as Santa.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, I have a memory of you being in a Santa outfit at some point. Yeah.
I remember the fancy dress party. I remember someone being dressed vaguely like the Alice in Wonderland, like with the big frilly dress, like I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know if I dressed up for that though.
I know there was definitely a fancy dress one because there's a picture on the Alan found of one of the fancy dress things because I'm on stage dressed as Santa. With Lisa is next to me in a French maid's outfit.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that outfit. I think I remember one year I went as Chun-Li from Street Fighter.
Improvisational hardcore was stupid but funny at the same time because it was an absolute racket. It was just everyone playing the wrong instruments. I was on bass, just strumming away, just playing whatever the hell I liked. I can't remember who was on vocals, but a random drummer, random bass, or random guitarist. Might have been two guitarists, but it was an absolute din. It sounded horrible, but at the same time, it was hilarious.
During the time of Brainfreeze, Alex, Sean and Alan were also meeting occasionally at Sean or Alan's house to jam and had begun their own small side project, an acoustic act they named Normle. Due to a support band pulling out, Normle would play their only proper gig supporting Brainfreeze at the Cartoon in February 2002, despite only having 3 songs. Normle, though, would have a lasting legacy with Brainfreeze, as the song My Life was originally part of the side project setlist.
It was all a silly little lie. Step down, as I look back at all, I see nothing of significance. My life, was it all a waste of time? I don't think that it was all a screwed up dream.
Do you have any recollection of the band Normle?
No.
No.
Honestly, no.
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 No, that doesn't ring any bells.
No.
Again, recognise and remember the name. Can't remember anything else.
It was like an acoustic side project,
Yeah.
and obviously the only thing significant that I know is that Suicide Booth was originally a Normle song, which then later became a Brainfreeze song, or migrated over to being a Brainfreeze song.
Close. There was a song that did that. It wasn't Suicide Booth. That was just
Was it
one of
not?
that was one of Alan's original like solo things that we stole. It was
Oh, okay.
My Life was a Normle song.
Yeah, Normle was just a simple acoustic side project to me, Sean and Alan. It started off with us just going round to Sean or Alan's house and having a jam and a bit of a play, but it kind of developed to us doing a couple of original songs, and they were all right, and obviously one got stolen, if you will.
Do you know the V Union? The band called the V Union. I think they're Canadian.
No, I don't. I'm not sure.
Have a look at it. They're pretty good. The V Union or something like that. And they just done they released loads and loads and loads of covers.
Yeah.
But they got their own music as well. But they released a lot of covers. They were showing everyone a lot of covers. But then they would follow that up a little while later with an unplugged version of it, and it always works. And it reminded me of what we did. Started off with the metal, and then we found a way to sleep it down, slow it down a little bit, give it a new look. And it was. What did someone describe it as? Acoustic metal? Because it's a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
I seem to remember you and Sean coming over to my family bonfire party one year, and we played acoustic guitars out in the garden.
So we had like a normal set in your back garden with fireworks.
I think Normle had 2 gigs, or one and a party. We had one at the Cartoon. A band pulled out of a Brainfreeze gig, so we just stepped on stage and filled in for 3 songs. That wasn't exactly much of a set, but 3 songs, you know. The other one was in Alan's back garden during a fireworks night party, if I remember rightly. The only reason I remember it is because they were doing fireworks all night, and there was a Catherine wheel that fell off his fence and tried to attack his grandparent.
I think that's what one of those photos that I sent you.
Yeah,
was
it is.
from.
It was me, you, and Sean doing an acoustic set.
Man,
Opening.
what if you turned up that night and you had me playing with Normle, me playing with Waste Paper Basket, and me...
Well, luckily it wasn't.
This guy's an idiot.
Well, there was a Wonderwall ripoff. There was a song called "Make Me Smile," which I believe Lewis got a bit emotional when he heard it the first time when he was drunk.
I love Lewis, I really do. But I think I know the day you mean. Because didn't he fall asleep outside my mum's room on the floor?
Possibly.
He hurt his knee. I think he hurt his knee skateboarding, and he'd had like half a bottle of rum, and was just lying on that landing, paralytic.
Could have been. We
Cass
all
was there. Bruce was there. I think Kim might have been there actually.
The third song was "My Life," which was then taken by Brainfreeze. When Alan was playing it during a practice, and everyone was getting into it. I was saying, this could work. Yeah, let's play it again. Go again. And we kind of built into it, put a heavy bit at the end, and it worked. Originally, when I wrote the lyrics, it was supposed to be a punk song in my head anyway. When I wrote the lyrics, because what I tended to do was write when I wrote lyrics was put them to a different song and hope they fit with what we were writing. and I wrote it to the tune of 28 Days Goodbye. 28 Days the band, Goodbye the song, because the original tune was supposed to be but luckily it fit with the acoustic thing. So
I was Brainfreeze #1 fan. I mean, what is there to say? I think my #1 fan status was based on me getting very drunk and very vocal at gigs mostly.
Yeah.
And then I turned up to your 2 London gigs when a lot of people didn't. So the Metro gig and the King's Head gig. So I feel like that puts me above most of your other fans.
It's true.
And the fact that I have a signed copy of the album.
I went to see you enough bloody times. I used to sit around while you did your rehearsals. Of course I was a fan of Brainfreeze. I still am a fan of Brainfreeze. And not a lot of people can say they are, because I can still have like Forever Young in my head, or like Falling Into the Hole, or Maggot Sex. I can have a lot, Emo Kid. I mean, one of the rubbishest songs ever, but you gotta love it. It's so catchy.
Yeah, I think it's live music, isn't it? And I think that was always the case. And knowing all of you in the band, it's just kind of like, mate, we would have done anything for you guys.
No. I would say no, but I'm gonna explain this in a roundabout way.
oh, that's fair. You can be perfectly honest. Don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, it's like ready salted crisps, right? If they're there, I'll probably eat them, but I don't think that's a gourmet meal. You know what I mean? No one's under any impressions it's a gourmet meal. That's just a bag of ready salted crisps. And if you ask someone, do you like ready salted crisps, they'll probably go, yeah, fine, it's all right. But it's not going out for a big meal, is it? So of course people would like that more. And I think what I'm trying to say is it was exactly what it was, and no one has to pretend that it's anything more.
I suppose because we it was kind of a karaoke band for our little group of people, because like everyone kind of knew the lyrics, so you didn't mind. The songs were recognizable within our group of people, so it was kind of fun to all go down and watch Brainfreeze and sticks, like kind of tongue-in-cheek, sing along to it and support like your mates that are there. So in a sense that with bands that you not necessarily listen to a lot, but all the songs, it's kind of fun to sing along to them with your mates, like Status Quo. What is it? Queen. People like Queen, but not everyone likes Queen, but everyone knows the songs to them, so they're quite happy enough to sing along.
Yeah, I think I did. I mean, I don't think I listened to you at home by myself, but I remember being in the cartoon, like enjoying it, singing along, like dancing or moshing or whatever it is that we used to do.
I'd say yes, not necessarily for the right reasons. I wasn't I didn't go out of my way to sort of listen to the tracks that you guys were putting out or anything. But obviously, knowing Alan as well as I did, like being at the time best friends with Alan, and obviously knowing sort of yourself from Fairfield, knowing Sean from school. There was that whole okay, well, I'm never going to be a musician. I've got no artistic streak in any way, shape, or form. But what I can do is kind of, big up the band that these people that I know play in. So,
but I enjoyed seeing it, even though it wasn't my kind of thing, or for me, or even maybe what I would call good. I enjoyed seeing it because, you were my mates. You could actually sing, so that actually made some of it, that was cool to see. Was it good? No, it wasn't good. But did I enjoy watching it sometimes? Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the music. I'm not going to be like screaming at you and like asking you to sign my tits. Like,
not necessarily sort of a fan of the band, but championing the band because I wanted to live vicariously through you guys.
I was a fan in the sense that going to a Brainfreeze gig was enjoyable because it was like a good social event where everyone like wasn't scared to let their inhibitions be let loose.
Yeah.
Let loose.
It's like we all went and stood up. Like there'd be sometimes bands wouldn't stand. Like no one would go and watch. Like stand in that little dance pit area with that with the pole in the middle. You know, you used to
The leaning pole.
If you were lucky enough and got up there,
That's where I
enough,
would stand. If I was at a gig, I would stand on that because I'd just lean on that
you had
pole.
to. There was a pecking order to that pole.
Yeah, of course. They didn't just turn up. It was good. You were doing something that was different from what a lot of other people around there were doing, and also from, I suppose, what's that? You were playing stuff that I actually liked rather than maybe what some of the other bands were doing, which was more trying to go after trends at the time. But you
New
were
metal.
actually, yeah, pretty much. You were actually sort of tapping into stuff that was slightly more rooted and was actually sort of like proper rock, and I just got on with it. It was great. So yeah, I was actually a fan.
With that Chronology CD, there was a bit of a dispute over who owned it, because I think either you'd given it away as a competition prize or you'd thrown it out into the crowd or something like that. And me and South African Adam had a bit of an argument over whose it was. And then basically I'd managed to get it signed by all of you guys whilst keeping it quite closely guarded. And then I ended up taking it home that night, so it essentially became mine regardless of Adam's opinions.
Well, sadly, I don't have any of your CDs because one bastard in Beckenham's got it,